when I was going through, obviously I was getting all the symptoms and stuff, I thought it was a curse, what I was going through. I was pissed off. Why does it have to be me? Why couldn't anyone have stopped me from eating these foods? Really, while working with you guys, I realised that it was the best thing that ever happened. Like, I wouldn't be who I am today. Wouldn't be talking to you right now. I wouldn't be, aiming to do ultra marathons in the not too distant future if I hadn't been through what I've been through. Everything that I've been through has made me who I am today. Yeah, and learning that the body was self-healing, that it heals itself if we give it the right conditions to heal, that was really powerful knowledge for me. Because I no longer thought that these conditions that people get are somehow just bad luck or genetics. There's nothing you can do about it. I realized they've got it for a reason. That it's from lifestyle. And if they change their lifestyle, give their body the right conditions to heal, they can overcome anything. That's really powerful.
Hey guys, welcome to another video. We have testimonial time again, and we have the amazing Alan, who has been able to recover from ulcerative colitis on a plant-based diet. So it's going to be an amazing journey, and thank you so much for coming onto our channel and sharing your story with us. So let's begin with your journey. How did it start? So you basically had digestive issues from a very young age. So talk about this, and I guess leading up to your diagnosis and things like that, and how was your life like before you found us? So let's just go through that. It's probably going to be quite a journey, but let's get through it, and we can talk a little bit about working with us as well, and obviously what your life is like now, and what advice you'd give to others as well. So let's start with your journey, and before you found us, what was it like?
Hey guys, I'm Alan. I'm really excited to share my story with you. So yeah, I've had some digestive issues since I was about 13 years old. I had quite a bit of blood and constipation since quite a young age. Didn't really think too much of it though, to be honest. I didn't really know much about health at the time, and I also never mentioned it to anyone because I thought it was a bit, I don't know, it's one of those things you don't really talk about, to be honest. Don't mention it to my parents or anything. So yeah, just kind of carried on with my life, and
it didn't really affect you in terms of like pain and like you basically had a lot of constipation, didn't you?
Yeah,
you wouldn't go to the toilet very often.
And because I was only going to the toilet maybe every couple of days, you didn't have to put up with it that often. I don't know. I didn't think there was anything majorly wrong.
Yeah.
Obviously now I do, but then when you're 13, you don't think much of it.
Yeah, right. So then after the years went by, I guess you just kept going and didn't think of it as anything to be an issue for your health?
Yeah, just carried on with life.
Yeah.
And it was when I was about 17 years old, I was doing a road trip up to Tauranga, and I stopped in this petrol station at Waiuru. Yeah. And then there was this poster that was talking about the symptoms of bowel cancer. And I ticked every single one of those boxes.
Yeah.
That was frightening, man, to see that.
And so what happened? Yeah, what happened after you saw that, and you said, "Oh, well, I've actually got these symptoms," and
so I realised then that there's actually something wrong. I'm not supposed to have blood, and if you do see blood, like, there is actually something wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe minor, or it could be major, but there is something wrong, and you have to go see a doctor.
Yeah, right.
But I had that idea that maybe it could be bowel cancer, and because I'd had the symptoms for so long, that it could be like stage 4, and they tell me that like there's nothing we can do about it. You've got a few weeks to live. So I was thinking worst case scenario, and I told myself I've got to go see a doctor as soon as I get back to Wellington, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't face being told you've only got a few weeks to live.
Right, right. And this is just, you're just presuming this, right? You may not have bowel cancer, but I mean,
Exactly.
this is what we do to ourselves, really, don't we? We think the worst of the
Yeah.
situation. I think one of the issues that you had in the past was anxiety, right? So you were always anxious about stuff, and I think you've managed to really improve on that aspect of your life as well. But let's talk about what you were eating at the time. I mean, it was pretty standard.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I'd say it was like I was probably used to overeat a bit, to be honest, but it was pretty standard food, to be honest. Like wheat bix with milk for breakfast, and then lunch would be like maybe sandwiches, ham sandwiches, and a piece of fruit and a yogurt. I thought that was healthy kind of stuff. Or maybe might get a pie and a cookie. If I got some lunch money from my parents.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
dinner would be like some, like, I don't know, some pre-cooked meal like sausages or chicken nuggets or pizza. Yeah.
And you mentioned to me that you were quite overweight, and I think weighed in around 105 kilos, was it?
Yeah. So I'd always kind of struggle with my weight, but I guess it was from the food I ate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was later in my teenage years when I started working at Domino's and started earning money and buying more takeaways and also eating the leftover food at work. I got up to about 105
Wow. Okay.
just before I left. So,
And okay, so then you kind of just cruising along here. Not, I mean, you were scared because of what the poster said.
yeah.
And then you kind of forgot about it, right? So then what happened to kind of, remind you of, uh-oh, I might actually have something wrong here. I think your symptoms increased quite significantly, right?
Yeah, so from memory, I started doing some weightlifting actually.
Yeah.
When I was trying to lose, I actually lost quite a bit of weight. And I was working with my mate who was a personal trainer at the time. And we we're doing lots of weightlifting exercises. And I thought I need more protein. So I thought, okay, I can drink this milk at work. It's free protein. So I was drinking like a whole litre of milk a day. And yeah, I started getting a lot of like pains in the stomach and my rectum, and also the blood increased a lot. Like I'd get these urges to go and I'd sit on the toilet and there might be a real small stool come out, but then all with that came this blood that was just honestly pouring out. And because I was losing so much blood, I think it was causing a lot more pain as well in the rectum as well.
Yeah. And were you real tired as well? I think that was one of the other symptoms that you had.
Yeah, I was tired, and I had trouble sleeping as well. Lot of trouble sleeping.
Yeah. So then you finally went to the GP, and how did that go?
Yeah, so I thought, oh, I have to go. This is getting worse and worse. Something's gonna, I'm not gonna wake up one day. If I don't go. Yeah, so, and I told myself as well, like, oh, it's you've had these symptoms for so long. It's probably not bowel cancer. You should be dead by now if it's bowel cancer.
Yeah.
The anxiety of that kind of tapered off a bit as months went on. So yeah, I eventually went to the doctors. I think I was about 20 at the time. Would have been 2016, I think. And yeah, it's pretty uncomfortable, like having to like pull your pants down, having this lady examine your bum.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't really say a hell of a lot. She looked a bit emotional, to be honest, and just sent me, because maybe she's thinking bowel cancer as well, but she sent me off to a specialist. I went there a few days later, and the guy did the same thing, but I think he did it to pull my pants down, and I think he did an endoscopy.
Yeah.
To see what was going on.
And
He didn't really say much.
he diagnosed you with proctitis, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
Something
kind of
similar.
like a mild proctitis, because
Yeah.
I guess he couldn't like see further up the colon at the time.
And he gave you some suppositories, I
Yeah,
think?
some suppositories to take. He just said, take these. And I said, oh, is there anything else I can do? Like, I didn't know anything about diet, but I was thinking maybe I need to drink more water. Maybe that's why I'm constipated and there's all this blood. And I said that to somebody's like,
he didn't say anything?
just take these suppositories.
Yeah. So obviously nothing to do with diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we now know that's not true.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So then your symptoms actually went away.
Yes, and they kind of said that maybe after a while you can stop taking them. So I started taking those suppositories, and pretty much overnight there was no blood. The stools were more formed. They were quick to pass.
Yeah.
I just go like 3 times a day, 2 to 3 times a day as well. I thought, oh, this is great, you know, but I didn't really feel right taking them, to be honest, as well. And I still didn't feel 100%. I was like mentally, I wasn't quite there, and still tiredness. And I think that taking that medication as well was kind of messing with my stomach a little bit. Yeah, so I started to like slowly taper off them, but I noticed as soon as I stopped taking them, the symptoms come straight back.
Yeah.
It's worse.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know the problem's not going away.
Yeah. And I think, when you have bowel conditions or, when you're bleeding through your stool, it's hard to talk to someone about it, right? So I think that's one of the things that you found hard.
Yeah, because it's one of those things I feel you just don't talk about. And I think most guys have the same problem. That's why they're putting those stickers up those posters up in the toilets, because they don't want to talk about it. Guys don't want to pull their pants down and have some lady look at their bum.
Yeah, for sure.
It's quite an uncomfortable subject to talk about. That's why I never mention it to any friends or family.
There was this one friend, though, that kept saying something to you. What was that?
Oh, so I had a friend who was vegetarian at the time, but then he went vegan, and he started trying to get me to go vegan. And I would, saying like, oh, stop harming animals, and this is going to give you cancer eating this food. And I just thought, oh, this is some vegan propaganda, And I made up every single excuse you could possibly think of, why we need to eat meat. But he had planted a seed, though, and I knew what veganism was then. So I think because of that, that did help me to make the transition.
Right.
Because I later on saw this documentary called What the Health.
Yeah.
Didn't plan on watching it, but I read about it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was about a vegan diet at the time.
Right.
But I watched it, and I was just completely mind blown, because it made sense that what these people in the hospitals, they're eating the same food as me.
Yeah.
You don't see people in the hospitals eating fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds. It doesn't make, it didn't seem to, that didn't make sense. And then I saw who these health organizations, who their sponsorship was, and it was like, this makes so much sense. Why I haven't been told this?
Yeah. And then you went and saw Cowspiracy as well?
Yeah. I said to my vegan mate, hey, I watched that What the Health, and he says, good, watch Cowspiracy. And I watched that, and then I made the transition to a vegan diet, and later on watched Earthlings as well for some ethics.
Yeah. How'd you find that? Because that's a pretty crazy documentary, Earthlings.
Yeah, because I put it off for months because I knew wasn't going to be nice, and it's definitely worse than what I thought it would be.
Yeah, right. So you obviously started eating vegan food or plant-based diet, and you obviously were coming off meds, and you saw some kind of improvement. Yeah,
so like I took the meds a few less times a week.
Yep.
And I also noticed there wasn't as many symptoms coming back either, and there was less pain as well. And I wasn't feeling as tired. So I thought, oh, okay, this vegan diet seems to be working. Like there obviously is something to it, But I did notice though that like even though I was eating a vegan diet, these symptoms weren't disappearing. It wasn't like it was the cure to colitis or Crohn's.
Yeah, right. And then you kind of, because of that reason, you kind of were still getting the symptoms. So you went and got a colonoscopy done in, I think, 2018. And let's talk about that experience. Yeah,
so just before the colonoscopy, you had to go on this kind of like strict diet for like a week beforehand, just to so before they wanted like, I don't know, certain foods to go you'd be eating certain foods before you use this kind of liquid to like completely flush out your stomach.
Yep.
And it was, so for vegans, there wasn't actually that much food you could eat. I was eating just stuff like white rice, I think some bananas, steamed veggies, that kind of stuff. And I noticed there wasn't really getting any symptoms. And that's when I realized that diet has a lot to do with it, and I can like control my symptoms by the foods that I eat. So I took that on after I had the colonoscopy and really started tweaking my diet. And yeah, but
talk about the colonoscopy.
yeah, so the colonoscopy, I didn't tell anyone that I was having it. So yeah, because I didn't. Well, so that meant I couldn't have someone pick me up from the hospital. So in order to do that, I had to do it without the anesthesia. And honestly, it was the worst experience ever.
Yeah.
Like, I've never felt something so uncomfortable before. Because it feels like your intestines are just so big that this camera going up. Because they're really long as well. And
Jesus, man. I really don't know how you did it without...
Because you obviously had it with it.
Yeah. So yeah. I had it 4 times, but that's pretty crazy to experience it without anesthesia. So, right. So you basically
it's when they said it was like a severe colitis. I think they said it was ulcerative colitis by that stage.
Right. So, but first he kind of examined you. That was a while ago, and then you had proctitis, and then it changed to. They did a biopsy, right? And they did a sample.
Yeah, once they had a full look up the intestines, they said ulcerative colitis.
And what? So obviously you didn't have bowel cancer, but you had something else.
No, thank goodness. But ulcerative colitis.
So then, what did you kind of take from that?
From that colonoscopy, I kind of learnt that like there's certain foods that are really like triggering my symptoms. So then I think I took out all the whole grains and the acid fruits, and even tried like gluten-free at one stage and oil-free and sugar-free, and I noticed big improvement in my symptoms, and they'd almost go away for like a week, but then they'd come back, and it was really frustrating because I'd get really hopeful, like, oh, I found the cure to colitis, and yeah, it just come straight back, and it would just be constant cycles. My bowels were so inconsistent, and eventually you just get tired of it and you just carry on with your life. You think you're just going to have this forever.
Yeah, right.
There is no real cure to it.
However, what happened next? You went to a screening.
I went to a health screening called the Big Fat Lie, and you guys are in it, and I was like, holy crap, there's a guy who had the same condition that I had, and he managed to overcome the condition. So I started following you guys on YouTube and seeing what you guys do, and the diet was obviously very different to what I do. So then I then went and had the consult, and told you what I was kind of doing, having bananas and mashed potato, and you said, yeah, keep it up and all that, and found it really helpful actually, because you weren't trying to sell anything either. I think that's what was really kind of appealed to me. Like because I think if you were like pushy about it, I wouldn't have wanted to sign up or anything. The fact that you were just there to kind of like encourage people and give them advice, and if they want to sign up, that's cool. That really appealed to me, and I ended up buying the book, Self-Healing Crohn's and Colitis.
For anyone out there, this is the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously a must-have for anyone with digestive issues.
Right, so you bought the book.
Yeah, I bought the book, read the whole thing, and I learnt quite a bit from it, but it was still like a bit kind of confusing. And I think just the fact that I didn't actually have that support. The book it gives you some knowledge, but I was lacking in that support.
And how long did you do the diet that was recommended in the book for? I think you said around 3 months. Yeah,
I did it for around 3 months. It was just very, very simple. I was just doing like banana smoothies for like breakfast and lunch, and mashed potato for dinner.
Yeah.
But I did see some improvements, but like it wasn't really going away completely. I think because of like because of the mental side of things, like because your mind needs to be there for you to heal as well. And I lacking in that support when I was healing, I think was really impacting my mental health.
Yeah.
So I was, 2 months in, I was, the bowel movements weren't too bad, but I was still getting blood in the stool, and they were still inconsistent. One day I might go once, and then next day 3 times. It was still very inconsistent, and yeah, honestly, that was really hard because I've been doing it for 2 months, and then I'd see blood, and I thought, I'm going to be doing this forever. It's never going to go away. And I broke down crying a couple of times, just thinking this is never going to work, and just honestly felt like giving up. But I didn't though, which thankfully, because I took inspiration from this guy I really look up to, called James Lawrence, the Iron Cowboy, who did 50 Ironmans in 50 days.
Yeah.
And I kept telling myself, if he can do 50 Ironmans in 50 days, I can eat bananas and mashed potato for another 50 days. My life isn't that hard. I get to go to sleep 8 hours a night.
Yeah.
He's only sleeping 4 or 5. I haven't got it that bad. So that really saved me a couple of times, because if I gave up, well, I would never have been working with you guys, most likely.
Yeah, so then let's talk about that, obviously. But before then, we actually met in person as well. So I think in August of 2019, you came up to Auckland for the Animal Rights March.
Yeah.
And obviously we caught up, and it was great to see you as well, because we had that free consultation, and then you meeting me in person, and you were doing really well at that time. And I think I kept encouraging you to keep going more and more, and I think you did end up signing up with us in October.
Yeah.
And I guess you did it for 6 months, and let's talk about that 6 months. And you were still seeing the blood, and you were still going to the toilet. It was very inconsistent. You'd have good bowel movements, then you'd have not so good ones. And let's talk about the support that I gave you, and how we'd talk every week, and you'd send me food, your dinner, every day. And so how was the support?
Yeah, I think it was great to have someone that I could just talk to every week and just reassure me that what I was eating was correct, and and to guide me through the process as well, because I noticed a massive shift in my mental health once I had someone doing that. And I had like a lot of I had hope as well, and I had faith that this was going to work. I didn't have that before. I was like, oh, it might work, might not.
Yeah, right. And this was like a little moment of celebration. In December, you had your medication still with you, and so you chucked that out. Talk about that.
Yeah, because after working with you for a while and seeing there was less blood in the stools and eventually disappearing, and also like reading some of the resources and documentaries out there, I got confident that this wasn't going to come back. I knew how to cure colitis. I thought, well, I don't need this medication anymore. Why is it even in my house? Like, do I have fear that it's going to come back? I'm like, no. So just chucked it out, and I felt so free then, so independent.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be part of the system that treats people with medication.
Yeah. And I guess what I would ask you is, what was the kind of hardest part of your journey? Was it the mental side of things, where you were really anxious sometimes and that you found it really hard to talk to people about it? Or let's go back to when you were socializing and you found it hard to go to the bathroom because you felt like other people will look at you, and you had that anxiety within you. Talk about that a little bit as well.
Yeah, so I was already pretty anxious about my condition, and I kind of mentioned it to some people, because we'd go out for dinner and I wouldn't be eating, so they're wondering, why isn't this guy eating? So I'd tell them, and they didn't really understand. Like, they'd be asking all these questions and maybe like recommend, maybe you should take these probiotics, or maybe have you tried this supplement, and it would kind of really mess with you a little bit. because like you've got so much faith in this, and then there's people trying to tell you otherwise. So trying to like really deal with those thoughts, not let them really affect you, that was hard. But I know initially as well, there was some people that said, "You sure this is going to work?" You know, like, sounds a bit dodgy, like bananas, mashed potato. Like, is that scientifically proven?
Yeah.
So having to really deal with all those thoughts was quite hard.
Right. And so because of that, I actually recommended you go and see my sister-in-law, who's a counsellor. So Divya helped you a lot with the anxiety. And talk a little bit about your experience talking to Divya and how she helped you with the mental side of things.
Yeah, because I had quite a bit of anxiety, just
and fear, wasn't it? Fear.
Yeah. I was letting other people's thoughts get to me too much and just worrying about what other people thought.
Yeah.
And like I needed their approval for this journey I was doing. And just kind of being able to let all my kind of emotions out and all my thoughts and just like stuff I'd been through in the past, that really helped. I noticed a big shift in my mental health. I noticed that I didn't really care anymore about what other people thought so much about what I was doing.
Well, I certainly noticed a massive shift in your mental health because, you were so much more confident about yourself. You were so much more confident about doing this, and you had that belief to kind of really get through this. And I think thanks to Divya for guiding you and obviously, giving you some really good advice about how to work with yourself. Work with your mind. Don't resist and don't fight yourself. Just work with it. And it's okay to be anxious. It's okay to be stressed sometimes. That's part of being normal. And I think you understood that because you kind of didn't want those things. And sometimes it's okay to like be in that zone and work with your body. Don't try and fight it. So that was really great. And I think honestly, guys, if you met Alan before this and you met him now, he's a completely different person. It's night and day. And I'm so proud of him because he has really been through a lot, when he was younger as well, and to see him grow so much within such a short time is absolutely amazing. So well done on that. And I guess you then actually started telling your family about this too. After how long was it?
So I think it was last year. It was I think I was working with you at the time, but I finally told my father actually. That was hard, but I had to get over my fear of like worrying about being like judged by other people. And once I told my father, there was just like this massive weight just lifted off my shoulders because I didn't feel like I was hiding something from people.
Yeah.
And that really like built up our friendship as father and son.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's hard to do that.
Had arthritis as well, so there was this like more of a connection now.
And you obviously told him about plant-based diets helping with that, and he has also gotten a little bit more plant-based, hasn't he? He's been eating more fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, he's more or less plant-based now, and he's actually not taking his meds anymore, which is fantastic.
So that's fantastic, Alan. It's so awesome to hear your story. So let's talk about now, because that's where the crunch time happens. So what is your life like now? And talk about your bowel movements. Talk about the amazing things that you've been able to do, not worrying about stuff, and just talk about your life now.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Like I just can't describe how much gratitude I'm in because I feel so comfortable. Like I go to the toilet 3 times a day without any issues. There's no urgency. I don't have any trouble passing the stools at all, and they pass quickly. Like I sit in the toilet for like a minute and I've evacuated. And after I've gone to the toilet, I don't feel like my bowels are still like there's still something in there. And there's no blood or mucus. That level of comfort is just amazing.
Yeah.
And it's just honestly like it saves so much time as well. There's no anxiety.
Yep.
Because one thing as well, like I noticed, because I was actually doing some running as well prior to signing up with you guys, and I noticed an increase of blood and poorer bowel movements. But I'm like so over the moon that now so after healing, there's no issues. I don't get any blood or like.
Or doesn't affect you anymore like it once did, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so how's your energy levels and things now as well?
Yeah, it just feels amazing. I feel like I can do a lot more in the day, and I don't. There's I don't feel like kind of like tired or anything after passing like bowel movements and stuff like I used to.
Yeah.
And I'm just not worrying about stuff that's not important anymore.
Exactly. That's been a huge shift as well. Like, because you used to take on a lot of things in your mind where, you'd try and think about stuff before it even happened, and you'd just assume a lot of things, which is completely, a massive shift. So, and also let's just talk about your weight now. I think you're 65 kilos, I think.
About that, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a 40 kg drop, I guess, and compared to where you were, you're obviously a lot lighter. And you did a blood test as well. I think, when was that? A couple of months ago?
It was like a month ago, I think.
Yeah. Okay, and everything was absolutely perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
I can show it to you guys on the screen, and you also did a stool sample with calprotectin, and it was absolutely perfect. There's nothing wrong. So let's talk about veganism and why, I guess, you went vegan. And I guess, just talk to us about what your story.
Yeah, so like if you can be just as healthy and even like heal from disease and even just reduce your carbon footprint, it's a no-brainer to want to like cause less harm to animals. It's completely unjustified, Like if you saw what happened to animals, no one would want to contribute to that.
Definitely. I think it's important to understand as well that, like, if we can survive, if not thrive, without, by just eating plants, why aren't we doing this? There's no need to kill an animal for you to eat something. Everything comes from the plant kingdom, and the American Dietetics Association has said that a vegan diet is perfectly fine for all stages of life, including pregnancy. So, people that say that vegan diets are not adequate or they lack vitamins and minerals, I think it's completely false. And I think that's one of the reasons why you went vegan, right? Is obviously for health first, but then you saw the animal suffering side of things, and you didn't want to participate in it.
Yeah, I don't want to contribute to that because I like initially I already made all the excuses why I can't be vegan, but then
can you tell us what some of the excuses were?
It was like, it's gonna like just destroy the economy,
right?
Because we won't be selling animal products anymore. I won't get any protein, iron. I'll be weak. I'll die.
Yeah.
If we don't eat the animals, they'll eat us.
Yeah.
It was like B12 as well. Yeah. There was like a book on the excuses.
Yeah.
It's quite inventive.
Yeah.
But it's funny though. Like I had it in me. I'd always kind of like had it in me that I care about animals. Like I'd buy the free range eggs and the free range bacon. And I remember like this when I was quite young actually. Someone was killing this possum in front of me, and I was getting quite upset.
Yeah.
What they were doing. But then the guy said to me, don't come crying to me once you find out where your meat comes from. But I didn't think anything of it. Later on that day, I'll go and have a ham sandwich and a piece of cheese in there as well. I never thought anything of it. But we're so like just conditioned as a society, to think that what's on our plate is supposed to be. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and obviously your taste buds changed over time. And what are some of your favorite foods nowadays?
Yeah, so I didn't really used to be a big fan of bananas, but honestly, it's one of my favorite foods now. And making banana ice cream is pretty up there with one of my favorite foods.
Yep.
I'd highly recommend it. Medjool dates and sweet potatoes.
And you eat this food because it just makes you feel so good, right? And I mean, if something that tastes so good as well makes you feel so good, it's a win-win situation, isn't it? And that's exactly why I eat what I eat now as well, with lots of fruit. And I think, I like to say this quote to a lot of people as well. It's, if you are persistent, you will get it, and if you are consistent, you will keep it. So it's really important to obviously eat really healthy. And let's just sum up and talk about some of the thoughts that you, I guess, if you want to say anything to anyone, what advice would you give? And I guess you've written here saying that UC was the best thing to ever happen to me. So talk about that and talk about what kind of advice you'd give.
Yeah. So when I was going through, obviously I was getting all the symptoms and stuff. I thought it was a curse, what I was going through. I was pissed off. Why does it have to be me? Why couldn't anyone have stopped me from eating these foods? Really, while working with you guys, I realized that it was the best thing that ever happened. Like, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I wouldn't be, aiming to do ultra marathons in the not too distant future if I hadn't been through what I've been through. Everything that I've been through has made me who I am today. Yeah, and learning that the body was self-healing, that it heals itself if we give it the right conditions to heal, that was really powerful knowledge for me. Because I no longer thought that these conditions that people get are somehow just bad luck or genetics. Or there's nothing you can do about it. I realized they've got it for a reason. That it's from lifestyle. And if they change their lifestyle, give their body the right conditions to heal, they can overcome anything. That's really powerful knowledge, I feel.
And you also, people say that vegan diets or diets, the whole food plant-based diet is extreme. What would you say to those people?
Well, I'd say, having your colon cut out, a vital organ in the body, is extreme, when you could have just changed your diet. And I'd say, dying of bowel cancer is extreme when you could have, just changed your diet.
Well, I think, thanks so much for sharing your story, Alan. I'm sure that someone out there will be in the same sort of thinking as yourself and gain a lot of encouragement and motivation from your story. So thank you so much for saying that. Was there anything else that you'd say to someone who's listening?
Yeah, if you've got UC or colitis and you're kind of thinking about, say, moving to the healing diet, or working with high carb health, I'd say just to sign up as soon as possible, because that's my biggest regret. Because I went, I've been following them for like 6 months prior to actually working with them. I wish I'd done it sooner. Regain my health sooner.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot again for sharing your story, and we're definitely going to keep in touch, and we're going to probably do an in-person testimonial too. So that's going to be cool when I meet you, when you come up to Auckland and catch up in person. So that's going to be fun as well. But in the meantime, take care of yourself, and stay safe during this time of COVID and the lockdown. And yeah, once again, thanks for sharing your story. For people that want to talk to me, please go ahead and fill out our health survey. More than happy to talk to you for free about your health condition. So give this video a like if you found it helpful, and subscribe to our channel as well for more videos like this and more testimonials to come. And thanks so much for watching. See you guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you know what it's like to have colitis or Crohn's disease, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. This channel was about helping people recover from colitis and Crohn's disease. If you go to our website and fill out the health survey, you are entitled to a free 30-minute consult from anywhere in the world. We look forward to hearing from you. And always remember, there is a life after colitis and Crohn's.